And welcome to the weekly discussion right here on Nextdoor Radio, nextdoorradio.com, and the Nextdoor Radio app. My name is Trace Knight. We are live here by way of our studio, by way of video and social media. If you missed the live show, you can head back to our website at nextdoorradio.com and go under the video and recordings. And right there, you'll see every single show that we've ever done. Mr. Vance Johnson is sitting right there. Candidate for Granville County Sheriff, Vance Johnson, joins me here. My friend, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Doing good?
Yeah, yeah.
We are 1 day away for early voting. So let's kind of do a quick, by chance, we always start these kind of a quick little 30-second introduction to who you are, what you stand for, and we'll kind of get into the rest.
Yeah, Vance Johnson, law enforcement 30 years, police chief 2 different places, assistant chief now in Henderson. Been a Granville County resident for a very long time. I've got my wife 33 years, my 2 grown daughters, 3 grandchildren. Desert Storm veteran, U.S. Army. And that's kind of a very quick rundown of who I am, I guess. And we'll talk more about that and maybe a little bit about experiences and that kind of thing too.
Again, candidate for Granville County Sheriff Vance Johnson joins us here by way of the video. We are live on by way of our social media. So if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to leave them on our YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook chat room. You're welcome to do that as well, or give us a call, 919-618-9258. Mr. Vance will be able to hear the live audio that way as well. Again, that's 919-618-9258. So let's kind of go into, again, early voting starts tomorrow. There's a couple, of course, the ballots that you can go, locations that you can go start voting. Let's kind of dive deep first into where to vote, how to get involved.
You got 3 different early voting locations: Creedmoor Library, Tar River Elementary School, and Oxford Public Works. And they are, I think it's 8 in the morning to 7:30 at night, weekdays. And there's 2 Saturdays. It's 8 to 3 in the afternoon. And it'll run up until Election Day. That Saturday before Election Day is the early voting times. Come out and vote early. I mean, it's... I encourage people to do that just because sometimes you get caught up in things and, you're not thinking about that. So I encourage people to do that. Actually, I think it's a good idea.
And so why, let's kind of go a little bit more into that. Why is it important to be able to go into the early voting stages, right? So you can go ahead and get it out of the way. I mean, obviously the first elections that we had to kind of get to this point, not a lot of people voted. I mean, let's be honest. Not a lot of people went to the polls. They didn't get out. They didn't do anything. If they have a voice, now's the time to vote, right?
Right.
So talk a little bit more about that. Why is it so important, now, especially now, to be able to get out there and go vote?
Well, it's, look, I'm a conservative, and I don't make apologies about that, right? So when, I'm a true conservative, and I think some things that for me, that I hear from people in the community is that, the economy, the way inflation is, does a lot of things affecting people personally. And you don't always have that during an election cycle. And right now you've got a lot of things affecting people personally, gas prices, food prices are unbelievable. So I think that, I think people need to make sure their voice is heard. No matter what your thoughts are or what your political affiliation is, you need to make sure that your voice is heard. And the only way to do that is to cast your vote. And you should never think that one vote doesn't matter, because one vote is critical. I mean, it truly is. It could make a difference, especially in a local election and some of your smaller elections when you're talking about county commissioner and that kind of thing. Sometimes it comes down to 30 or 40 votes,
Absolutely. I mean, and again, this is a historic candidacy that we have going on right now for Granville County Sheriff. We've had multiple years, different ones. So this is a historic time to be able to, if you have a voice, go out there and go. Now's the time to make it happen.
I agree with you totally. I think that it is historic. I mean, I think it's, it's the first time we've actually had a general election in a very, very long time. So I think it's, and it's a lot going on. It's been a long year, and it's been a lot going on. And I had a young voter ask me just the other day, he says, well, how do I, He says, I hear all of these things, and it's negative about everybody, and I hear all of this. And I said, look, keep it very simple. I said, that's the only thing that you can do. I said, find someone that represents the values that you have and make sure that they've got the experience to get the job done. And you know, if you've got a good feeling about that candidate, you know, that's what you're going to have to rely on, because there is a lot of misinformation on all the candidates and that type of thing. So I think it's difficult, especially for young voters, because they don't know how to navigate those things. But I think it's important. Find somebody that represents your values, and you know, look at their experience level. I think that's critical in this sheriff's race. You know, what have they done and what have they accomplished? I think that's important.
And so you brought some items into the studio here today to kind of do what we like to say, a show and tell.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that. And in fact, because it gives the visual aspect of a lot of things. So let's kind of pull up the first item that you had.
Yeah, I
today.
think that the reason what made this come up is that, you know, there still seems to be talk about experience and, you know, what's administrative and that type of thing. And I thought, you know, how do I show that to people? Because I think it's important. You know, so I pulled some stuff off the wall, and this was given to me when I left the Henderson Police Department in 2007 to take my first police chief job. And what it represents is that I was an officer, a sergeant, a lieutenant, a commander of a city, county drug unit. We have countywide jurisdiction in Henderson, which is very, very unique in the state. So we're not limited to the city. And I worked in the drug unit there. SWAT team badge, field training officer badge, honor guard badge. I served with the honor guard. Sergeant, of course, I was a K-9 officer and K-9 trainer. And the smaller thing on my name tag there is the CALEA accreditation symbol that we've had for well over 20 years.
So what is all that, with all that experience, and you can actually see by way of the video, if you're looking by way of our YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook here tonight, you can actually see everything that you have going on that you've done in your career. What does all that mean?
Well, that's just the start of my career, right? But what that means is, you know, you are electing the top law enforcement official in the county. You know, so we're actually here conducting a job interview, and it's been a long job interview for me, and that's what I consider it. And I think what that means is, I think a sheriff is truly an administrator, because I've been an administrator, so I know that it's not management of a budget. That's not what you do as a sheriff. You develop and design the budget, and the people under you actually manage that budget and operate within it. There's a clear difference with that. So there are some things there that when you look at this, you know, it's important as a sheriff. I will be an administrator, but I have a true understanding of what these officers and deputies, and I understand what they've gone through, because guess what? I've done it in most cases. So if I'm going to supervise that and I'm going to be the commander of that, it seems logical that you would want someone that's got some hands-on experience. I think the deputies would want that.
Yeah, Vance Johnson joins us here. This is our weekly discussion for candidate for Granville County Sheriff Vance Johnson. My name is Trey Stein, a part of Next Door Radio. This is our local talk and decision 2022. If you've missed any of the programs that we've ever done, head over to our website at nextdoorradio.com, and you can go under the program recordings. All the video, audio, everything is right there, and you can listen back if we've missed anything here today. You also brought another item here today. What we got with you, my friend?
This is around the same time frame. This is 17 years ago. I've got a little picture of my K-9 that I had.
There you go.
His name was Raider. I always just keep that there so that I can see it. But this is issued through the Criminal Justice Education and Training Standards Commission. And I think one time before I talked about how, you know, when you start out in law enforcement, you have a probationary certification. You're issued a general certification. You can apply for an intermediate. And this is an advanced certification in law enforcement. And this, you have to meet certain training levels and years to achieve this, and I've had this for 17 years.
Wow.
So I mean, I was issued this 17 years ago.
Wow. So I appreciate you bringing more of a visual aspect of it, because we can set up here and talk about it here and there. But I love seeing stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean,
like my son, we love pictures. I love
Yeah.
pictures, so we're not gonna lie. Again, my name is Trace Knight on behalf of our local talk and Decision 2022. You can call the program here tonight. We are by way of our social media, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, 919-618-9258. You can shoot us an email at contact@nextdoorradio.com as well. So talk a little bit more. We did the early voting aspect of it. Now let's go into some of the programs as well. What are you thinking on what moving forward? You have the opportunity if you become Granville County Sheriff. What do you kind of want to see happen?
The different programs. Mm-hmm. I think that I think that community policing aspect is extremely important to me. I think that it's, I created, when I went to Wadesboro as a police chief, for example, I created the first Shot with a Cop with them. And it's still going on today. And it's things like that I think we need to bring the community and the department together. I've mentioned before, I created a children's camp in Wendell. I want children to view us as people, people first. And when they do that, I think it changes the mindset and how, as they grow up, how they actually view us and how they look at us. It's different programs like that as far as the community policing aspect, I think we need to, really increase the use of neighborhood watch program. We need to get a lot deeper involved in that, and I think there needs to be a lot of one-on-one communications during those things, and not just electronically, but I mean we need to have some face-to-face with our communities. I think it's important. So that's a few things there. One of my goals is full accreditation for the agency. I think it brings accountability. I know it brings accountability. It brings accountability for me. I think that's something that's the scandals in the sheriff's office throughout the years here. I mean, it's there, right? So how do we move past that, and how do we move forward? I guess is key. And I think that, look, I need to be held accountable, and I need to be held accountable by meeting these certain standards and showing it to the public. Making it public so that people can see it. I had a question just the other night about, grant funding. Would I accept grant funds if it had caveats? And I said, well, no. I said, grants, I will not accept grant money that's going to take rights away, right? I wouldn't do that. But certainly grants has a fantastic place in reducing the tax burden on our citizens. So I think there's certainly a balancing act there, and I've handled millions of dollars in grants throughout the years. I've applied for them, I've received them, I've implemented them in many ways. So I think that's something that we certainly could increase, and we could talk probably forever, but that's quite a few things there. Yeah.
Again, if you're just tuning in, you're tuning in to the weekly discussion with Vance Johnson. He's candidate for Granville County Sheriff. So this is kind of the time where you've done a lot of work. You've done it, knocked on a lot of doors, and you mentioned a number earlier that I was astonished by. Talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think. Look, I'll take this time to talk about the supporters, right? I mean, none of the candidates can be successful without just a great team of people. And my wife and I talk all the time about how we couldn't do this without the supporters we have, and the amount of work they put in is unbelievable. I think my approach to this has been a lot of grassroots, meeting people, and I think that's how I wanted to do it, and that's how I felt good doing it. And something that we've done over the last month is that we've reached out and knocked on 5,000 doors in Granville County.
I mean, so with all the supporters, and let's give a moment to talk a little bit more about that. That's a big number, the 5,000.
It's huge.
Why is that important?
Well, I think that first off, it represents a massive number of voters because they were all registered voters. We went to houses that we knew were registered voters. So and it was so it's what's great about that is that I wanted to reach that number because I knew that we would be somewhere in the 12 to 14% of the actual registered voters, which gives you a good representation of what you're actually seeing. And the feedback out there was just absolutely just fantastic that we were getting. So I mean, it was extremely encouraging, the things that we were hearing out in the communities. And did we talk to 5,000 people? I can't say that. I mean, we left information in 5,000 houses, and I imagine we reached people at 25% of those places. And I've had some fantastic conversations with people.
And Vance Johnson joins us here by way of our video here today, by way of our social media, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. You can give us a call, 919-618-9258, or shoot us an email, contact@nextdoorradio.com. You can also, if you missed this live, which we are right now, you can go back to our website and go to the program and recordings tab. It will be right there as well. We'd like to really finish the program that we do every single week, really open to the floor. Last couple minutes of no question on the table. There's nothing here. It's just an opportunity for you to get something off your chest or anything that you wanted to discuss.
One other thing that I did bring, I wanted to get in there because it deals with getting beyond the stuff that I brought there. And when we talk about training, I think that it's important that you've got training that relates to what the job that you're applying for. I went to the Administrative Officers Management Program at NC State, and part of that training, all of that training deals with executive level law enforcement. We talk about things like, ethics. I mean, we had a month-long course on just ethics alone, research, conducting research. When we're talking about these programs and how to implement them, you've got to know how to do your research to get it right. You've got to know how to use peer-reviewed articles and books and that type of thing, and use statistical data to make sure that you're getting it right. We had a class on a very long class on budgets. How to develop them and how to keep those budgets in line. And legal. The legal was fantastic. I stay abreast of legal throughout law enforcement. But what was so great about this is we talked about personnel law, and we talked about hiring and firing and discipline and, those type of negligent retention and negligent training, negligent supervision. And we talked about those types of things, and we talked about the case law and how that, the right things and the wrong things to do, and it was just fantastic. So you got to look at that training as a, executive level training. So when you're looking at your candidates, you got to look at what is the training that we're talking about.
One more time, where can the viewers of this, of course, of Granville, all of Granville County, early voting starts tomorrow. What time can they go? Where can they go?
Absolutely. It starts at 8 in the morning, ends at 7:30 at night. Saturdays are 8 to 3. Oxford Public Works. If you're here in Oxford or in the northern part of the county, they're going to make you ride, right? And Creedmoor Library is same hours, and Tar River Elementary, same hours. Come on out. I'm going to be out. I'll be out at various locations, and I'll be out there every single day. Come see me, speak to me. If you got questions, ask them. Don't hesitate.
Vance Johnson, he's candidate for Granville County Sheriff, joins us here by way of our Decision 2022, a special airing of the Local Talk. My friend, good luck the rest of the way. Early voting starts tomorrow. A lot of hard work into it, so good luck the rest of the way, okay?
Look, I appreciate it, Trey. And just remember, right experience, right choice. Thank you.
Until next time, my name is Trey Snyder on behalf of Local Talk here on Nextdoor Radio, nextdoorradio.com, and the Nextdoor Radio app. We'll see you later.